Vine Talks. Be fruitful.
Welcome back to Vine Talks. It's been a while. It's been a minute since we last, had an interview, but I'm excited to be back today and with a wonderful guest. And today we're going to be tackling something which has been talked about quite a bit, especially during this, COVID season with the onslaught of COVID and this pandemic and the changes that it has brought to our lives, mental health and mental health issues. And of course, joining me today on the show is Beatrice Langariti. I'll be telling you more about her in just a bit. But, in Uganda, we're about 34 million people right now. And I was just reading some of the statistics that show that 20% of all Ugandans struggle, with some kind of mental illness or related situation, from stress to anxiety to, the full blown, mental trouble, or where the people start to actually lose their minds or things like that. And so we want to talk about this, but from a different angle, because this has been discussed so much. My guest today is a qualified, certified doctor, professional psychotherapist. What does that mean? Not too sure, but we'll find out in a short while. We'll be right back, and Beatrice will be joining me on the set. I'm here joined by Beatrice Langariti. We're trying our best to social distance, and so I'm not even going to shake her hand. Maybe we can try and, So Beatrice Langariti, how are you doing?
I'm doing, I'm agreeable.
Yeah, agreeable.
Yes.
That's not an answer. What do you mean you are agreeable?
That life is beautiful, and life is a gift, and I'm grateful to be alive. So I'm agreeable.
Sounds good. Just be careful who you are agreeing with. So Beatrice Langariti, I know you're a lady of many hats.
Yes.
Do you just want to briefly tell us which hat are you wearing this season? What have you been up to? What are you doing?
Well, there are certain hats that are consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, my mother, that will always be. And I work with...
You're a wife? That's also...
Yes, that's a wife. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's a consistent one. Yeah, that's true. And I psychotherapy, I work with, right now with Aga Khan schools, and I do a lot of university counseling, preparing young people for, after high school, what next. So we do a lot of preparation, planning, and guidance on, where next.
I've been to your office, and it's busy, from, you call them clients?
Yes, you're right.
Awesome. Are you enjoying that?
No, I am. It's absolutely, really amazing. And I never thought, when I started off, I thought I would just be there for 6 months.
Yeah.
But now it's, I think it's about 4 years now, since I joined. So that's a good,
as we'll soon find out. That's how jobs always stand out. You always get in there, with a 6 months plan, and 6 years later.
6 years later,
it's another story altogether.
True.
All right, so I know you are what's the title? Psychotherapist.
Yes.
What is a psychotherapist?
It's a good question. Well, it's a form of counseling. Counseling is a subform or subset of psychotherapists. What the psychotherapist does, they also do counseling, but they do deeper work, where they go back to the, when you come, we go into, the root causes of whatever it is we're talking about. And then we have to, other than just the diagnosis, we then apply therapy. And sometimes that can go on for 10 weeks, that can be a year, that can be, depending on the progress, the prognosis really. Yeah. So
is this something, I know you're certified, you've studied this, I don't know, master's, doctorate, or whatever.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the profession, for starters? And is this something you always wanted to do? I do not know too many Ugandan psychotherapists.
I think it's growing, fortunately. I mean, when I returned back, I actually studied in the US. I went to seminary to study what I'm doing now.
Okay.
And I came back in 2007. And, I graduated in 2008. It's kind of like you finish and then you go back and graduate.
Yeah.
So
You've been practicing, that's now 12 years.
yes, that's 12
as a
years.
professional.
Exactly, yeah, as a profession. I really honestly love it, and I want to, build that and go even,
Yeah.
higher or further, whatever that means.
All right.
Yeah, but going back to the question about, is this something you've always wanted? No, not at all. I think one of the things that when I think about what I do now, and is the fact that I think back then, and maybe it's still there,
Yeah.
that we lack guidance on in terms of helping us in identifying our career aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never have that person who walks with you and helps you identify your strengths or your interests or
Yeah.
your abilities and things
Most
like
of us
that.
just had 1 or 2 lessons in school.
Yeah.
S6,
You are lucky you had, yes.
Maybe bring someone who says, yeah, university is like this.
Yes,
you know.
yeah.
But you end up really just studying what your results allow you
That's right, yeah.
to pursue. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So anyhow, I went to university. I ended up with economics, and I was very much interested in doing international relations.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about banking, and I pursued that. But then when I was done, I was like, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore.
Right.
It was great,
So you're actually an economist.
Yes,
You
yes.
closed that
No, I closed that.
So
And
how do you switch then from economics to psychotherapy?
very good question. What happened is, once I finished university, I was very keen to actually find work in banking or related to what I studied.
Yeah.
But I hit the streets, and nothing seemed to come out,
Yeah, nothing
worthwhile. Yeah. So then I'm asking myself, okay, what do I need to do? What next? So while I was thinking within that window, somebody walks up to me and said, hey, there is an opportunity to do stuff, with the Scripture Union. Would you be interested?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I know you most for your work at the Scripture Union. And
Yes.
bless God for Scripture Union. Many of us would not be Christians had it not been for the foundational work.
Yeah.
Scripture Union did in secondary schools.
Right. Yeah. It's true. That's how we actually met, and I'm glad that the relationship has built on since then. So anyhow, I go to Scripture Union, but they told me about the opportunity, but I still don't know what exactly I'm going to.
Entails.
Yes. Now my background. My background is I'm a Catholic.
Yeah.
I have a Catholic background, and I was getting ready to become a nun. Sister Langariti, and that didn't work out well. So that's why we're here.
So Scripture Union invites you?
So invite me, and then they're like, oh, we want you to do, there's an opportunity to work with children and young people in schools, on evangelism and Bible study.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, again, going back to the whole Catholic, because we don't have that, it's different, what you're exposed to. But I was ready for it. So I give it a shot, and I think down the road 6 months again, I'm like, I'm liking this. I really like it. So I was visiting the schools. So while I was visiting, the students, apart from just talking to me, apart from the Bible study and the evangelism,
they start to open up.
Yes. So it felt like I was now spending more time counseling and listening, and sometimes some of the issues were fixable because maybe it was, I don't have enough pocket money, or I don't have this, and then you would sort of give some money.
Yeah.
But there were those that were beyond, like when a child says, I'm being abused by a relative in the house, or it's my father or something. Wow. That was really tough, and it broke my heart. And I'm asking myself, who is helping these children? What can be done about this? And even within Scripture Union, there wasn't like a department for just counseling. Yes.
We're just doing Bible study.
Exactly. Discipled, and that's it. So I struggled, and I thought over time maybe I need to begin to explore, if there are opportunities like that to help, and that's how we. Wow. Counseling.
So fast forward, you're overwhelmed with all this need for counseling.
Yes.
I know you later then got an opportunity to go and do Care Force
in
the UK.
Care Force, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
One which you also fought. Beatrice is the only person who I know, because she got the opportunity to go to the UK, but she didn't want to go.
Yes.
And when she went for when the visa interview, they asked her, where are you going? What do you want to do? And said, they've just forced me to come here. I don't want to go. and she got her visa immediately. So
Right.
that's a tip for you if you're looking for a visa. Guys,
I don't know that works.
It might work or it might not.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
fast forward.
Yes.
You end up in the UK doing care for
Right.
a year.
Yes.
And they ask you to do it a second year.
Yeah.
And then somehow you end up now doing your 2 masters in psychotherapy
Yes.
and all of that.
Yeah.
Wow. So my question then is, as a certified counselor, psychotherapist, first of all, did you practice when you were abroad?
Yes, I did. First of all, it's required because while you're there, even while you're a student, there's what they call the practicum. And so you have about 300 hours where you have to do that. That begins in the second year.
Okay.
And then once you have that, then you of course supervise, and you're graded, and there's a report submitted. And then you have what they call the internship, actually, the real internships. That's about 600 hours.
Yeah.
So you have to do that. And so you have to work with different. So I did different things. I worked in a pregnancy crisis center. I worked with people who are divorced. We it's a group therapy.
Yeah.
So you help them, again, transition from now not being married to, from being married to now not being married, and just working through that. Yeah.
All right. So all of this has really been a build-up for me to understand. Now, when you come back home to Uganda and you start, what's it called? Thrive 360.
Thrive 360.
Counseling company.
Yes.
What's the experience? Are Ugandans into counseling? When you compare between Ugandans and abroad in the UK and the US where you've worked?
No, I think it's finally catching up, but it's slower. Yeah. My experience in the US and also in the UK is that there's a lot of awareness and understanding, and people are not shamed for seeking counseling, and people are not ashamed about it. So it's something that people speak very openly about. I've
so hi, me and my husband.
Exactly.
And it's normal.
Yeah, and they will talk about it. They will even tell you what they're actually seeking, what they're in counseling for, therapy for. I have maybe a food addiction, and I've been seeing a therapist for the last 12 months. So some people are there for that long, and then things like that.
So it's very normal.
Yeah, so it's very normal. Yes, but
then here in Uganda, if they say Ronnie and his wife are in counseling,
True.
What's happening?
True.
You guys are you getting a divorce?
Yes.
So,
are things that bad?
Are things that bad that you had to see a counselor? So it's sort of, if we're to do counseling, it would be clandestine.
Yes.
Probably with someone who doesn't know you. And, Yeah. Why is that?
I think it goes back to the whole awareness, the whole understanding. Yeah. Because for me, it's not we don't only go for counseling because we have problems. The whole point is taking responsibility for your life, to be able to live a full life. So there might be things in your life that are obstacles, are in the path of you achieving your full potential, living a full life.
Yeah.
I'm actually very proud for anyone who does seek counseling, because it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of responsibility. Wow. And of course, we've seen, lives changed as a result of, them seeking counseling.
Awesome. That's something powerful you just said there. Seeking counseling is not a sign of weakness.
No, not at all.
A sign of responsibility.
Yes. A sign of self-care.
Self-care.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A sign of putting yourself first.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's really my goal today, even in interviewing Beatrice, is to demystify, therapy. Counseling, the counseling room, going to meet a shrink. Those are some of the terms we've used to define your profession. And so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And number one really is, who needs to see a counselor?
Very good question. Who needs to see a counselor? Yeah. I think that everyone needs to see a counselor.
Everyone?
Yes. Sometimes we think
that... not just marketing the profession.
No, not at all. Not at all. No. I don't know whether I should just say everyone or human beings, because...
should I have asked, why do I need to see a counselor?
But we all need, because, there's a myth that, maybe children don't need to see a counselor. Children don't have problems. and then the assumption is that maybe only adults need counseling, and then you have another section of people who think that maybe it's just women who need counseling, and there are things like that. But everyone at some point will need some form of counseling. Right. It's just that we need to know what is it. Because we all don't go for counseling for the same issues. And even if it is the same issues, you're different and your context is different. And we'll have to listen and work through that.
From what you're telling me, you have more women than men. I don't know if you have a percentage or what the ratio is like.
Well, I don't have percentage per se, but at least I know from my records that I see more women than I do see more men. But I also know that maybe it's stemming from the fact that women are more relational, and women have learned to talk about issues. So that's something that they're not afraid to do. Men maybe from a cultural, and because again how they're wired, feel that, again, men don't want to show that they're weak. Exactly. And I think that their perception is that if I go for counseling, then it's going to come across, that it's going to be interpreted as a sign of weakness.
I'll be honest with you, if I was to see a counselor, I would have to feel like, things are falling apart. That's why I really need to see a counselor. On the flip side, then you shared with me earlier on that, for example, the suicidal rates that you have, men are more prone, and you actually have more cases of men committing suicide than women. So the two are probably related.
Because they're closed. They're not taught to open up. There are signs of a healthy personality, like what that. How do I know that Ronnie or anyone else is healthy? Is a healthy person? Number one is the openness. And the other one is what they call neuroticism. And then also then the third one has to do with your honesty, your transparency. I think that's sort of related to the openness. But then you think those are things that you begin to look at to see how is this person doing in all those areas? And how am I doing to be able to determine, how healthy you are.
So then what I need to know is, in light of mental health awareness, mental illness issues, how does counseling, play a role in remedying, all of these mental health issues?
I think the thing is being able to provide space, because society is very harsh or hostile sometimes to people who are struggling or who are suffering. I call it suffering. So we provide the space where they know that they're not going to be judged, they're going to be listened to, they're going to be understood, and they're going to be supported. So it's there's what they call talk therapy. So we provide that space for people to talk and to be validated, that what they're going through is not necessarily their fault. Because sometimes the assumption we have is, they are trying to seek attention, or it's their fault. If they had done ABC, then maybe they wouldn't be where they are. So in the privacy of a counseling room, and of course, we're trained, we went to school to learn, to acquire skills and knowledge to be able to support. So that's where it comes in.
All right, we're going to take a small break, and of course, when we return, I'll have just a few more questions for you, and then we'll bring this to a wrap. Where are people getting counseling? Most of us get our counseling from our pastors, or from our friends,
from the singer.
And when you come to the professional, Beatrice, she's charging you an arm and a leg. Where should I be getting counseling from? And I'm going to ask you a tough one. Do you think pastors are doing a good job with counseling, or because they're not really professional counselors, might they be doing more harm than good? We'll be right back. It's still Vine Talks, and it's Ronnie and Beatrice Langariti.
Are you stressed? Feeling disgruntled with life? Losing control of your family or marriage? Struggling with finding your purpose? Do you need a counselor? Thrive 360 has got you covered. We are a Christian personal development and counseling firm who are compassionate, result-oriented, and deliver with confidentiality and integrity. Our services include professional counseling, mental health treatment, life development, and public speaking. Need to speak with someone? Call us now on 0782 710 108 or email us at hello@t360life.com.
I sought counseling from Thrive 360 and it changed my life.
Thrive 360. Live life to the fullest.
Welcome back to Vine Talks. My name is Ronnie, and today I'm joined by the amazing Beatrice Langariti, and we're talking about counseling, therapy, psychotherapy, and all of that in relation to mental health awareness, and mental health issues. So Beatrice, as we attempt to, see the value of therapy, where we should get therapy from, and all of that, I think the common place in Uganda, we will get counseling or therapy from family. Say go and see auntie so and so. There's always that auntie or uncle.
Yeah.
In schools, I think most schools will have a senior mother or whatever, and the can has people like you.
Yeah.
And then just out in the community, it's really normally spiritual. It's your pastor and yeah. Do you think pastors have done a good job in as far as counseling is concerned? Am I putting you on the spot?
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot. I think that, I can't speak for all pastors, but I think that generally they have their intentions, in my opinion, they mean well.
Yeah.
I think that the pastors who have been through theological school training, and sometimes they have modules that cover
counseling.
Yeah, they call it pastoral counseling.
Yeah.
So they're really prepared to do their work. And then there are those who are doing the counseling, who have the passion, who have the interest.
Those who are like the anointing.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you have another percentage that exploit those who come to them, the vulnerable, to their, they have selfish reason. And we've seen some of those, videos of pastors doing weird stuff to their flocks who come to see them.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's just cringe-worthy. You can't imagine the pastors doing that.
Yeah.
In the counseling profession, for example, we are required to even have a supervisor. And then, of course, before you actually become a counselor or a therapist, you are supposed to go through what they call the professional ethics. And so that's something that, you're checked in about. And then there's a body that also governs, like either an association that also checks in to make sure that, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and not exploiting people.
And I
so
think
those are very helpful.
Good as a counselor as well, because who's counseling the pastors?
Yes,
counseling
exactly.
everyone.
Yes, yeah. And sometimes they don't even they don't see counseling themselves. Yeah. We've heard of pastors breaking down and stuff like that. But there needs to be that. I have someone who I have to check in with every quarter to just talk through either some difficult cases, but in confidence, and also more for my own, professional development and set targets. So I need to be also checked so that I am not also going, wayward. Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, as we bring it to a wrap, you really wanted to emphasize in as far as mental health awareness and the need for counseling are concerned.
Right.
It's something you're saying you wanted to emphasize.
Right. Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, the thing is that we need to understand, and I'm glad that we're using this platform to talk about it, because mental health is, in my opinion, is us. But I feel that not many people do understand what mental health is. Mm-hmm. For example, if we play around with word association, if I talk to you about, if I said physical health, what comes to mind? Diet, nutrition, what, exercise,
Mm-hmm.
But what about when I say mental health? What comes to mind?
Well, faculty up there and how well things are doing.
And that's not what it is really. Mental health is also not the absence of mental illness, and mental health is not mental illness. Mental health has to do with how we feel, how we think, and how we behave. It's the social, emotional, psychological well-being. So when those the thinking, the feeling, and the action, the action, you have to be very careful, therefore, what you think, because what you think is going to affect how you feel.
Yeah.
And how you feel is going to affect how you act.
Where the mind goes.
Yes, exactly. So then, where then does mental illness come in? Mental illness comes in, we need to look at it like kind of like a stairs, like a, staircases. Yeah. You have, up and then you have down. So mental illness, therefore, is then when now the feeling, the emotions, the behaviors are not in harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are signs that you can begin to look into. For example, if they're overwhelmed with fear, if they're, overwhelmed with sadness, if they're overwhelmed with anger, anxiety, then you also look at how then do they relate socially? How are they relating with others? Are they withdrawn? What's going on there? And then you look at how do they feel about life? How do they feel? Do they see any meaning in life? Because usually people who have mental illness have they feel that they don't deserve to be here. There is no point of living, and so they end up, having suicidal ideations or self-harm, or they do stuff like that. What are they doing to cope?
The feelings, like you've said, then affect the outlook.
Yes,
on life.
exactly.
It's meaningless.
Exactly.
Why am I here?
Yes.
Nobody cares.
Yes, but that's coming from thinking.
Yeah,
how I'm thinking. And the thinking usually people with mental health exhibit is negative.
Right.
So it's never positive.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. How's the feeling? Are the emotions positive or negative?
So is that a way to self-check and say, what have I been thinking about lately?
Very good.
And to evaluate
very
that.
Good.
Have my
very
thoughts
good.
been
very good.
positive thoughts?
Yes.
Or if I do, and I'm in inventory of my thoughts the last couple of weeks. And
right.
If they're all negative,
right.
I'm not going to,
yes.
that might be a sign for me.
Yes. And if that goes on for 2 weeks, because we look at duration, we look at frequency, we look at intensity. How long has this been going on for?
Duration?
Yes. Yeah. Frequency.
How often?
Yeah. And then intensity. How
deep?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And the intensity is then in the impact of behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. How that does impact your behavior.
So they should be normal. I mean,
yes.
it's normal to have some negative thoughts once in a while.
Yes, but
what's
then
the duration?
Yeah.
What's the frequency?
Yes.
And how intense?
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's no more. We know, again, like we're talking about the staircases.
Yeah.
There's no more up and downs that we go through. Every one of us will.
Yeah.
You're not going to have every day where you're just high up there. But there'll be there'll be moments when, and that's normal.
Yeah.
But
it's normal to feel sad.
Yes, it's normal to feel sad.
You're feeling sad for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Is this intense?
Yes.
And,
Yes, and how? Yeah, and then how is that impacting your behavior? How are you behaving?
Yeah.
And then we see that in how you things that the outcome of that.
Yeah.
I talked about how the meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's what they call PAMA. PAMA means sometimes those you check to find out how the person is happy, doing.
Okay.
So P stands for positive emotions.
All right.
E stands for engagement. How engaged are you?
Mm-hmm.
And is there a flow? Now we are talking.
Yeah.
Is there an engagement? Is there a flow in what we're doing? When there's a disengagement. Exactly. Yeah. Even in work, the engagement is not just conversations.
Yeah.
You can see that, but it's also in your daily routines. Mm-hmm. How engaged are you? Mm-hmm. How involved are you? And is there a flow in the engagement? No, it's R.
Oh, P-E-R-R.
Yeah, PAMA. R is relationships.
Mm-hmm.
The relationships. What do you have people around you?
Yeah.
What kind of people do you have around you?
Yeah.
You are the average of
the 5 or so people.
around. Yeah. They healthy. Do they energize you? Do they bring the best out of you?
Yeah.
Or do you spend time, even if it is family, but every time they bring out the worst in you? And then there's M, meaning. Yeah. Are you finding meaning in life? Do you find meaning to, in the daily, day-to-day, activities?
Or are you like the king?
Yes. Meaningless.
Why am I here?
Exactly. Why am I here? And then the last one is accomplishment, achievements. What are you productive? What is coming out? At the end of the day, when you look back, can you write down 3 wins that you had for that day? What are your 3 wins so far?
No, that's a good question, because then I know many people who feel frustrated because there is nothing to show for
Yeah,
it.
right,
You know, there's no win, there's no achievement.
right.
And maybe what I'm picking, the achievements don't necessarily have to be that big.
No,
but
not at all.
It should be, I was able to do this today.
Yes.
I ticked that
Yeah.
off. I cleared that bill.
Right.
So achievement.
Yes, achievement. And sometimes achievement is not, again, like you rightly put it, achievement can be, what are the 3 things that went well today? You know, what are the 3? And that's something that all of us should be doing every day.
It doesn't have to be I built a house.
Yes,
so I bought land.
no.
I talked to my sister who I haven't spoken to.
Exactly.
That's an
Yes,
achievement,
yes,
you know?
yes.
I was able to finish this report or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Wow. So I think within, like the Bible says, to count your blessings, name them one
To
by
count
one.
them, but then
Yeah.
the thing is, when you do that type of exercise, you say what went well and why.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't just say it's not a list of boxes.
tick,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, because it again that we want to see that you're engaged
Yeah.
in whatever is going on, to pay attention, because sometimes we don't realize how much you were able to do. For people who actually struggle with mental illness, by the way, mental illness is almost like is invisible for some. There are people who you'll see. And
on the outside,
yes,
you're normal,
yeah,
you're
exactly,
smiling, you're
exactly,
what?
yeah.
Then you hear the man hang himself. You're like,
Exactly,
I
yeah.
thought he was happy because,
Yes,
you know.
yeah. Because again, part of it is because they've been taught, again, because they're afraid of being stigmatized.
Yeah.
You know, stigma has to do with the belief we have, we associate people with mental illness, because even just, you can tell the attitude we have towards people with mental illness from the words we use. Nuts, crazy, schizo, weirdo. What else do you use?
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So we do that. And then also even how we treat people with mental illness. I see in homes some people locked up in the room, or when they go out to visit, some of these people with mental illness are left out, or people don't talk
Families
about
will go,
it.
"So that's our son or your every day."
Yes, they don't even talk about it. Yes, they don't talk
It's not
about
a person.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did travel somewhere where I found a child with, actually he had autism, but he was chained to a tree because they see him as a problem child.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beatrice, as we close, and I think I've said that one too many times, I know you, one last thing I need you to squeeze in there. For starters, I feel like I've been in therapy already.
Yeah.
And this is quite helpful, you know.
Right.
I like the fact that you're able to, the way you've explained it, that mental health is emotional, social,
Yes.
and psychological.
Yeah, well-being, yes.
Well-being.
It's not the absence of mental.
It's not the absence of mental illness.
Yes.
All right. And then you've also put it, into feelings, thoughts,
Yes.
and actions.
Yes, feelings, emotions, even though some people have a debate around that.
Yeah.
Thoughts.
And then your thoughts
And behavior.
eventual actions
yeah.
or
Be-
behavior.
yeah.
You know, how are you feeling? Are you angry? Are you sad?
Yes.
Are you lonely?
Yes.
Are you,
Yeah.
Then what are your thoughts?
Yes.
What are you thinking about?
Right.
Why me? How
Yeah.
come?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. You get into society, and then in the end, action. So there's and then
How are you coping? Because
Yeah.
one of the things with mental health, people with mental illness, they struggle to adapt to change, to cope with the normal stresses of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are they coping?
How are you coping?
Yeah.
Who are you sharing with
Yes.
the outlet? And maybe that's why we have more suicides in men, because
Yes.
then women are able to. Men, when we talk about football,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the surface things, and never really deal with the real things. Then you've taken us through karma.
Right.
Positive
Emotions.
E was
Engagement and flow.
How are you engaging? Your relationships.
Yes.
The relationships around you, and how are those doing? M was what?
M was meaning.
Meaning.
Are you
Do
finding
have
meaning?
Finding meaning. And
Yeah.
and then the last one, A, was achievement.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Or how many wins do you have
Yes.
this week, this month, or all of that is good stuff. Let's wrap it up or close it with children, because you wanted to emphasize that many people feel children don't need therapy,
Yeah.
and yet children have quite a bit of things that they deal with.
True, quite right. Children actually, it's a myth for us to think that children don't suffer from mental illness.
Yeah.
Because from statistics and from Psychiatric Association, actually the American Psychiatric Association, they found out after as research was done that at the age of 14, or even before that age, 50% of children are likely to suffer from one form of mental illness. And at the age of 24, 75% are likely to manifest signs of mental illness or actually suffer from that.
Wow, my daughter is about to turn 14.
Yeah, we did too, because the thing is we don't know. And the other myth that we have is we feel that I can't suffer from mental illness.
Yeah.
You have no control over that, because some of us, it can be maybe, but the people who are actually at risk are those who, you look at your family history. Do you have any of people who have suffered?
Generational.
Yes. So because it can be, some of it is biological, some of it is social.
Yes. By DNA.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, there's the whole genetics. There's a whole what they call the neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
When you have the happy hormones and the not happy hormones, and there's no harmony there, then things go wayward.
Yeah.
Then there's going to be a problem. There, and there's also, again, we've already talked about the genetics. Then also stresses of life, the environment you live in. The environment is, you just think about even the whole pandemic. There's been cases of suicide, cases of many things happening. Mental health illness that have come through.
Wow.
But I think that what people need to know, that there is nothing wrong with mental illness is something that you can, when somebody talks about diabetics, that they have diabetics, we will be keen to find out who is your doctor and what medicine are you on, and we talk about it freely and no one is shamed. But when it comes to mental illness, people there's not so much conversations around that.
True.
But it's really pretty much the same. It goes back to what I was saying. What attitude do people have when they hear mental health? But mental health is really to do with the general well-being, and you cannot have health without mental health.
Because health ought to be wholesome.
Exactly. Yeah? Yes.
And especially if you're not healthy up here.
Yes. Then it's going to affect. Yeah. But the key thing that what people need to do to know that actually that mental illness can be treated. Some of the mental illnesses that we have today, they say first of all that people get help. Those with mental illness get help usually after 7 years. They wait too long. But yet there is, with improvement of medicine and everything, they can be helped as soon as, exactly. So we encourage people to be self-aware, to check in themselves, even just the questions we're asking. How am I feeling today? Maybe at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, just how am I feeling now? And write that down. And then maybe tomorrow in the evening, do that and just monitor, emotions. If something just doesn't make sense, then you need to seek, a mental health practitioner like some of us, or, go to see another counselor within your community to seek help.
Well, Beatrice, I guess that's about all the time we had for today. But I'm going to let you look into the camera one last time. And in your parting shots, help someone do a simple, whether mental health check or what are the questions I need to ask myself to say, do I need to see a counselor? What is there a checklist? Is there some questions that I can go through so that whoever is watching can be able to just do that exercise and then decide for themselves if they should call you or not?
Yeah. Okay. I think that the first thing that we need to do to check ourselves is, first of all, ask ourselves in terms of emotions. What emotional domain am I spending much of my time in? Now, when you talk about emotional domains, you have anger, you have sadness, you have happiness, you have fear. If you're finding that you have overwhelming fear, you have overwhelming anger or sadness, then, that's can be a red sign. a red flag for you to, take note of. You also need to think about your energy levels as well. How are you doing? And then how are you adapting to the normal stresses of life? How are you coping? If you're finding it hard to even cope with the normal stress of life, then that's again something to look into. You also need to, monitor your thoughts. What's going on? If your thoughts are mostly negative, then again, that could be another sign. What about meaning? How do you feel about being alive, about life generally? We all have a way that we look into life. We also see the world, others and ourselves. If you feel that life is meaningless and it's now resorting to self-harm or you're having suicidal ideation, then again, that's another check. There's so many lists that we can look at, but those are some of the things I can highlight for you right now to think about. And then the other one is, how are you coping? Sometimes when we're not feeling well, when we're struggling, we look for other ways to cope. And so you find either we're abusing, substance, we are going to alcohol, or it's drugs. Sometimes it's just the prescription, you're taking more than you need. You're taking tablets every now and then, Panados. That's not a good sign. So those are some lists. You can go back to Google and check some, or you can call us and we will be able to, validate or assess what you're feeling and be able to guide you. So health is wealth.
Awesome, and that brings us to the end of this show, Vibe Talks. Of course, we'll give you details about Beatrice Langariti and Thrive 360. And if you feel the need, and I encourage you, I think that's like you go and see a doctor and do a normal checkup, get a bill of health. I guess you can see Beatrice or any other qualified professional and get a bill of your mental health.
Yes.
Say, okay, I'm doing badly, or I am all right.
True.
We'll be back next time with another guest. Vine Talks. Ron is my name. God bless.